And the best way to lose belly fat is opening the solar plexus chakra in conjunction with the root and the sacral chakras. My name is Ladi Ojas. Welcome to Skeletal Leap, a living adventure. Skeletal Leap transforms one's life into a personal heaven. Today's episode will tell you how I cracked the code of instant solar plexus chakra opening. I needed to locate my next focus of attention where I could approach it biologically with my perception to feel it full. The location of the solar plexus chakra, as the name signifies, is at the solar plexus. The solar plexus, also known as celiac plexus, is located in the vicinity of the thoracic diaphragm near the first lumbar vertebra in the vertebral column. It comprises, number one, splanchnic nerves that are paired visceral nerves with fibers from autonomic nervous system and organs innervating visceral organs. Number two, anterior vagal trunk, that's a branch of the vagus nerve with fibers from the left vagus primarily. And number three, posterior vagal trunk, that's a branch of vagal nerve with fibers from the right vagus primarily. Solar plexus also comprises smaller plexuses within, namely, number one, hepatic plexus, that's receiving filaments from left vagus and right phrenic nerves. Number two, splenic plexus, that is formed by the left celiac ganglion and the right vagus nerve. Number three, gastric plexus, that's joining branches from the left vagus nerve. Number four, pancreatic plexus, that's another solar plexus division. And number five, suprarenal plexus, that is receiving branches from the celiac ganglion and splanchnic nerves. It plays an important role in the functioning of the stomach, kidneys, liver, and adrenal glands, thus justifying its title, the digestive factory. Its close proximity to the thoracic diaphragm also signifies its role that it plays in regulating the diaphragmatic breathing pattern. Solar plexus chakra arises from the L1 vertebra being dropped down and tucked in, turning the lower S of the double S-shaped spine curved posteriorly as an inverted C, thereby compressing the thoracic diaphragm along its periphery. A closed solar plexus chakra acutely disturbs the breathing pattern, turning it shallow and speedier. It makes one prone to breathing-related illnesses. As a result, diffidence creeps into one's persona, causing one to lose their spirit of interaction, adventure, and initiative. It also compresses the vagus nerve and the splanchnic nerves, distorting the anatomy of hepatic plexus, splenic plexus, gastric plexus, pancreatic plexus, and suprarenal plexus, along with the main solar plexus. Belly fat leading to obesity owing to digestive problems, diabetes, liver problems, ulcers in the digestive tract, lower back pain, and breathing problems, including asthmatic symptoms that it shares with the diseases of the heart chakra, are the lifestyle diseases that stem from the solar plexus chakra. The solar plexus is rightly called the digestive factory of the body. It includes almost all the internal organs linked to digestion in one way or the other. That's what we call gut. The gut function had always been the strongest part of my mind-body system. I always had my metabolism fast, digestion exemplary, excretion regular and well-formed, without any tendency to put on weight all through my life. It should have meant that my solar plexus chakra was perfectly fine, but it wasn't so. The reason was that my breathing wasn't perfect. Like a major chunk of humanity, I too used to breathe with my chest using my intercostal muscles, inhaling and exhaling little amounts of air. Though it never gave me any problem, but I could improve it further tremendously. I will talk more about it later in this episode. to discuss what I did to correct my breathing and set my solar plexus chakra perfectly fine. Before that, I want to discuss about the role of the solar plexus chakra in causing the problems of digestion and associated illnesses. There are many of them that have acquired the status of the most widespread lifestyle diseases all over the world. These include liver diseases, colitis, IBS, pancreas dysfunction causing diabetes, metabolic syndrome, kidney disease, chronic constipation, chronic diarrhea, and the mother of them all named obesity. Obesity is a debilitating condition of putting on excess fat on the body, thereby disrupting health, fitness, and wellness. It is quantitatively defined as body mass index or BMI crossing 30 kg of body weight per meter square of height. The range between 25 to 30 kg per meter square of height is defined as overweight. The condition is considered to be a breeding ground for cardiovascular diseases, type 2 diabetes, obstructive sleep apnea, some specific cancers, osteoarthritis, and even depression in a dialectical relationship with obesity. Its major causative factors are dietary imbalance and physical inactivity, along with others like genetics, excess medicinal intake, mental dysfunctions, and endocrine disorders. Right now, more than 42% Americans are obese. Also, the number of obese people has more than doubled in the last 30 years globally. By the year 2015, the US and China topped the list of obese populations. By the same year, China and India topped the list of countries with the largest number of obese children. Obesity throughout the world has assumed a debilitating stature, making its scale even larger than a pandemic. That's why and how the weight loss business has become one of the most lucrative businesses the world over. In general, it all starts with adding fat to the belly in the beginning. And the best way to lose belly fat is opening the solar plexus chakra in conjunction with the root and the sacral chakras. Doing so relaxes thoracic diaphragm, turning the abdomen taut. If all these three chakras are open, it's not possible for fat to get accumulated on the belly. If it's already there, these three open chakras immediately start melting it right there. And as it is a 24-hour process, it loses belly fat much faster than any other weight loss method. While cracking its code, I did a lot of research on breathing the right way. And when I adopted the right way to breathe, it tremendously benefited me. There are three different breathing styles that people can adopt as a lifelong habit. Number one, diaphragmatic breathing, that's also called deep breathing and is done by contracting thoracic diaphragm for inhaling air inside the lungs. It's a muscle located between the thoracic and the abdominal cavities. It comprises slow and deep inhalation through the nose, followed by slow and complete exhalation. Diaphragmatic breathing improves the blood flow as well as reduces pulse rate and blood pressure. It also relaxes the vagal nerve and optimizes sympathetic reaction, resulting in a fight or flight response. It's also one of the best cures for belly fat in particular and weight loss in general. Number two, chest breathing. That's also called thoracic breathing or shallow breathing, uses intercostal muscles, drawing much less air into the lungs. The major chunk of humanity adopts this breathing style as a lifelong habit. And number three, clavicular breathing, that raises the shoulders and the collarbones or clavicles while simultaneously contracting the abdomen for inhalation. Its process is a very tiring one and cannot be held for long durations of maximum air intake. We must opt for diaphragmatic breathing alone. It's not only because it takes the maximum air in, it's also because diaphragmatic breathing alone can awaken Kundalini, pushing it up after all the chakras go open. During exhalation, the lungs are left with the functional residual capacity of air, which occupies a volume of 2.5 to 3 liters. An extended exhalation can reduce it further to 1 liter, not more than that. In other words, we may extend our exhalation so that the leftover air in the lungs is anywhere between this range of 1 to 2.5 or 3 liters. Breathing becomes the perception of energy with every single exhalation as chakras are opened, removing all obstacles in its way. The way from the coccyx at the pelvis to the crown at the top of the head gets fully cleared. I realized I wasn't breathing using my thoracic diaphragm. I was rather breathing using my intercostal muscles on the sides of my chest. Actually, it is a widespread mistake that a major chunk of humanity makes with every single breath of theirs all over the world. I also realized I wasn't able to rectify my mistake even when I tried to do so. What had gone wrong with my thoracic diaphragm? Why wasn't I able to inhale air using this muscle? For the first time in my life, I felt my thoracic diaphragm was not relaxed. It was rather contracted habitually, and it wasn't a habit of my mind. It was rather a habit of my body. How would I relax it? I further studied its role in breathing through inhaling and exhaling. I came to know that when thoracic diaphragm was contracted, it was already set in a mode of inhalation. Hence, it couldn't take any more air in. Whatever little air I was inhaling was coming in through my intercostal muscles. And they were doing so for inhaling as well as for exhaling the extra little air that they inhaled. It meant that the lungs weren't emptying themselves to their full capacity with chest breathing. How would they, if the main muscle of exhalation was set in its contracted mode, allowing inhalation alone? Full exhalation could only be achieved by relaxing the thoracic diaphragm. It meant I needed to relax my thoracic diaphragm. My mind couldn't help me in doing that. To do so, I needed doing something to my body alone. I took my cue from what I had done to my sacral chakra and raised my lumbar vertebrae up. But it didn't pull thoracic diaphragm out of its contraction. Thoracic diaphragm had moved up when I pulled the lumbar vertebrae up, but it was still contracted. This time I pushed it back while it was up, thus pulling it out. And it worked. I felt a totally different sensation in the lowest part of my rib cage. It had let the air go out of my lungs suddenly. I felt I had lost control of that area at the bottom of my rib cage. It gave me a feeling of losing something. I felt the feeling of losing control wasn't an easy thing to make peace with. My stupid mind was brooding over losing its control through keeping the muscle contracted for all the years I had lived with this contraction. I slowly contracted it back and discovered that doing so filled my lungs with a lot of air inside them with one single inhalation. I hadn't inhaled so deep ever before. I slowly relaxed thoracic diaphragm once again and discovered that my lungs were now able to empty themselves way more than ever before. I kept playing this inhaling and exhaling game for a while as it made me accept my new orientation, making peace with losing my control over the tapped in air inside my lungs. It was a feeling of freedom, but it's a fact that when slaves are freed from their slavery, suddenly they go haywire, needing time to accept their freedom. This was the kind of feeling I myself got as well. There was something else that I discovered too. My root and sacral chakras had also completed their opening by the same maneuver. I felt I had suddenly jumped into instinctual domain of creativity in my psyche. With opening the sacral chakra alone, physically it had replaced the thrust of my body weight distribution on my pelvic bed from its tailbone end to the center of the pelvic bed. But after I opened the solar plexus chakra above it, the thrust of my body weight distribution on my pelvic bed moved from its tailbone end to the pubic end on the pelvic bed. More so, it centered my entire body weight at a point around 2 inches below my belly button, activating the central fixation of the body. It turned my entire abdominal area between the pelvis and thoracic diaphragm in a vertically stretched and perfectly taut stance. The entire maneuver automatically confirmed my earlier observation that if all these three chakras were open, it wasn't possible for fat to get accumulated on the belly. And if it was already there, these three open chakras would immediately start melting it there. An abdomen with a vertically stretched and perfectly taut stance simply cannot accumulate fat onto it in any way possible. It proved my assertion that the chakras working together as a group dialectically affect each other's performance as well. At this point, let me repeat my explanation about this fact that I had given in the beginning of cracking the code of instant root chakra opening. Although we have 7 chakras in our body, yet we cannot correctly open them in absolute isolation separately. We can certainly do them in 3 groups in order for each one of them opening properly via their instant opening codes. The first group comprises the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus chakras forming the lower torso group. The second group comprises the heart and the throat chakras forming the upper torso group. And the third group comprises the third eye and the crown chakras forming the skull chakra group. Download the code of Instant Solar Plexus Chakra Opening in the Resources section of Skeletal Leap Book 1, available on skeletalleap.com/The Mind-Body Connection. Like all other chakras, there is a caveat here as well. Solar Plexus Chakra cannot be effectively opened unless the root chakra and the sacral chakra below it are already opened. Thanks for listening to this episode of Skeletal Leap, a living adventure. In the next episode, I will tell you how I cracked the code of instant heart chakra opening. Be a part of Skeletal Leap community. Subscribe to Skeletal Leap newsletter. Click on the link in the description to subscribe.